Well, with us to get into this in a bit more detail, the former IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus. He is now Senior Fellow at the US think tank, the Foundation for the Defence of Democracies. Good to have you on the programme again. Thanks for your time this evening. 37% of Israelis in a Snap poll said they don't support this deal. One cabinet member said it was a historic mistake. Are you any more optimistic?
Yeah, good evening and thank you for having me. I am very cautiously optimistic if this ceasefire is a tactical ceasefire that will allow Israelis to go back home, the IDF to regroup a bit, and then for Israel to really avail itself, together with allies, to deal with the real menace in the region, which isn't Hezbollah or Hamas, but the Islamic Republic of Iran. I don't think that we will see peace and stability and quiet in the region, not in Lebanon and not in Israel and not in Gaza, until that regime is dealt with. So if this ceasefire agreement can support that long-term strategic aim, then yes, I am cautiously optimistic. If the ceasefire agreement is what will eventually dictate the terms of the end of, or the interim end of, a conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, it's not a good situation, because Hezbollah are still around and they still have missiles and rockets and lots of armed men, and the Iranian regime is still will still be providing them with weapons and money.
You say it will work if Israelis can go home. There are 60,000 people who were displaced from northern Israel. When do you think the authorities in the north will have enough confidence in this deal to make that decision that they can go back?
Yeah, that is, you're very right, and that's really the bottom line here. And many people are not convinced, having lived up along the border and having been so close to massive destruction from Hezbollah. People are very, very cautious, and they do not take the word of the government and not even the military when it comes to telling them that it's safe to go back. So I think bottom line, it'll take a few days, at least maybe a week or so, until the dust settles and we see that we enter some kind of rhythm of stability where there is no rockets being fired and no presence of Hezbollah operatives or terrorists close to the border. Then maybe people will start going back to their homes. But, just like there's on the Lebanese side lots of destruction and houses ruined, on the Israeli side, many communities have been totally demolished by direct fire from Lebanon, and there's going to be months, probably years, of reconstruction efforts that haven't even started, and I don't think people even know how bad the situation is. So there's a lot of work ahead.
One of the notable things that Prime Minister Netanyahu said last night in his speech was that there was a need to regroup, rearm. He suggested that along the way there had been some delays with resupply. Do you believe that is why the decision was taken now? Was that part of the strategy?
I believe so. And I believe that the current situation with regards to Israel's ability to act on its own and to defend itself, defend its citizens and its sovereignty as it sees fit has not been 100%. And I think that moving on for the future, Israel will have to calculate its steps and think about how it can rely, on whom it can rely, and what kind of alternate sources of weapons and funding it can have in order to be independent and in order to be able to act as itself sees fit in order to defend itself. And I think that the current situation is a challenging one. Israel is, of course, a main beneficiary of U.S. arms sales and also diplomatic cover. But I think that the current situation, Israel has made a conscious trade-off between a current tactical situation and a long-term strategic objective. Lots of politics and lots of interactions between Washington and Jerusalem. And again, if this is just a tactical wait and pause, then I think many Israelis can live with it because it will serve a greater long-term strategic purpose. Okay. If it isn't, and if this is how the war ends, the war that Hezbollah started against Israel on October 8th, and this is how it ends, then that is probably not a positive outcome for
Right.
Israel or Israelis.
What about Gaza? Do you think it opens the door to a potential ceasefire with Hamas?
I think that the chances are higher. We're getting insinuations from Hamas leadership, or what remains of Hamas leadership, that there's more willingness. There's been reports of Egyptian involvement, which are not yet verified. And I think that Hamas are now understanding that they are left alone. They started this war on October the 7th. They thought that all of the Iranian proxies would join in and that the flood of Al-Aqsa would blow out or wash out the state of Israel. Of course, the situation in Gaza is quite the contrary, and the results of Hamas's actions can be seen specifically in Gaza. And there might be a more realistic view on the situation from Gaza now, and they might come to the conclusion that the best and smartest thing to do from a Palestinian perspective, and especially when it comes to ending human suffering, is to surrender, for Hamas to surrender, hand over 101 Israeli hostages. Half of them may be alive. I hope that more are, but let's say half of them are alive, and then have an end to the war. It is within reach, and I think Israel would be very susceptible to that situation, and it really hangs on what Hamas will decide to do.
Jonathan Conricus, always grateful for your time. Thank you for coming on the programme.
Thank you.
The other side of the break, we're going to talk more about the situation in Gaza and what the US administration might do to advance those ceasefire negotiations. Do stay with us. You're watching BBC News.